Hey. Baba Louie.
Okay, so Baba Louie. First of all, it's Baba Booey.
Baba
Okay?
Booey.
Baba Louie. Oh my god, Joe. First, so
This is how we're starting it today, it looks like.
no. This is how we're starting. You hold on one second, Joe.
Okay.
So I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
Joe did not know how to start the episode,
I
so
never
I was
do.
giving him a hard time
You
about it.
always do.
That's true, but I was giving you a particularly hard time about it today.
Today, yeah.
And so I was going to begin and say that the amount of shit that Joe puts up with me from is unbelievable. Joe is the only person that I am a very specific version of myself with because he because I know that nothing I say can truly phase him, and because like he's not going to stop being himself, which is why I love him so much. And because he's not going to really like judge me. He's just going to laugh at it.
That's so interesting because I have such a
And
different...
then
Yeah, okay.
and then you start the episode with a walrus impression
Hey!
and saying and getting Baba Booey wrong. You got Baba Booey wrong, Joe.
Where's
How
it?
did you
Tell me
do
where it's
that?
from. I bet you can't even tell me where it's from.
Like a Howard Stern thing.
So then how can you even judge me for saying Baba Louie when you don't even know where it fucking comes from?
I just said. But at least I know what it is.
Yeah.
It's almost worse that you, I assume, with the way you're speaking, know where it comes from, and you still got it wrong.
No, I don't know where it
That's
comes
more
from.
embarrassing.
I'm just judging you for not for the same thing.
I said I knew so much. I mean, I was way closer to the origin than you were.
Dude,
He's got nothing. He's got nothing.
What if we were on fucking Howard Stern? He would.
What kind of sentence is that to present to the show?
What
if the grass was orange? Hey,
you don't think
you know
we could
what'd be
ever
crazy
be on
if
Howard
the grass
Stern?
was orange? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's such a I just don't like that presentation of ideas like that. Like, what if we? Because that's almost the same thing to me as like when people say like, "What if we had our own TV show?" Or like, "We should have our own show." No, you shouldn't. You really, really shouldn't. You absolutely. Nobody that's ever said that deserves their own show, ever, ever. Anybody that said that,
is that the same logic of when I'm like, what if I was a stand-up comedian?
no, that is, I mean, that's pure delusion. So I think that's a completely different thing.
Dude. Can I tell you, I gotta tell you, the logic, welcome to Film Juice, everyone. I'm your host, Joe Dorado.
And I'm Andrew Cannon. I also host this show alongside Joe Dorado, the host of Film Juice.
Only sometimes, though. So we're... I don't know what that was supposed to mean. So it was supposed to be funny. I don't know.
But it is true. We don't know what it means, but somehow that is accurate.
Somehow, it does make sense in the context of this opening. I wanted to talk about something you said when we were just opening that. You were saying something that you've said before, but like I always like. It's just I think that was the most clear you've ever said it. So I think I finally understand what you mean, and I've never understood it like this before. So, because I've always interpreted it in a different way. So you said that you're like, you never act like this kind of way around like other people, like specifically like this specific like
usually it's funny because I did show a little bit of my true self to my girlfriend a couple weeks ago, just as an experiment. I thought, what if I took a couple hours today and like acted like me?
Oh,
And it didn't go well for either of us.
like
Which is why it was kind of a soft opening into Andrew Canada.
that's such an interesting.
And nobody wanted it.
Such an interesting like idea though. Like this is the thing.
Joe, if I was just me all the time,
yeah.
I would be miserable and everybody around me would be miserable.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. You're okay. The way it made it sound was more like you are like not being like are you saying like you're purposely like not being yourself always? Or
I I am
cuz I never got
I have
that.
an excellent filter from brain to mouth.
Okay.
So
Okay.
everything that I so like when we do this show,
Yeah.
I'll basically say everything that I think and feel. Out
Okay.
there, I say nothing and I
Okay.
don't do anything.
So this is therapy.
A little bit, yeah, a
This is
little bit.
literally therapy.
It's definitely well, it's very cathartic, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
cathartic. My time with you,
That's so
without a
funny.
doubt.
What's crazy about that is I would have never expected that. Cuz I feel like I don't know. I've never like had that interpretation. I've always felt the opposite, which is so interesting that you're saying that. I've always felt that you've held your tongue when we do like when we interact and we talk. Like I've always felt like you've held back and with other people you don't hold back. That is the interpretation I've always had.
Really?
Yeah. So I always thought I've always been getting like just like a little taste of like the what other like with you shooting the shit with other people is. Like I've always felt like I've not gotten the full experience of that.
It's a little bit of a different version.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I'm like understanding. That's interesting. That's so interesting. So many different Andrew Canadas.
Yep.
You know who you reminded me of from the Invincible show? And I don't want you to take this the wrong way. You're
Oh
gonna
no,
take
of
this
course
the
I'm
wrong
gonna
way.
take it the wrong way.
You know the clone guys?
Yeah. The twins, the blue
Yeah.
twins.
Yeah. You kind of get I don't know why, but like you have this like you have this inner monologue and this conflict that I feel like they represent really well that you have.
Interesting.
Not that you're
Interesting.
dumb like they are, because they're dumb.
Right. Yeah.
Not that part. Just like the part that they are having an inner. They have this very, very unique and complicated dilemma with themselves. And I feel like
Right.
you are having that often.
I see where you're coming from. I don't know if that's
Maybe not often.
exactly true,
Yeah.
but and also, like I said to you before, I apologize for myself because I'm really hungry right now.
I'm so sorry
And
that you
what are
are.
you gonna do? I don't care,
You
Joe.
want to
It
get
doesn't
you want to
matter.
get lunch
It does
after
not
this?
matter.
We can get lunch after this.
I have so much I have to get done
Oh, damn. Okay.
over
Well,
like these next couple days before going to Disney World.
fair enough. Fair enough. Oh my god. Anyhow, so yeah, that's the therapy session of the show. That'll be $5,000 and you can
Yeah, no problem.
pay me at the door. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know. Okay.
Whatever I'll leave it on the nightstand.
Oh my god. But that is interesting. I mean, it's great to hear that. I mean, I kind of like hearing that. That's it's a great thing to hear that like you can like just like be a complete like you can kind of like I don't know.
Well,
I'll
you're the
take it.
most yourself person that I know.
Oh, oh.
So
I don't think that's true.
what I'm saying is, it is true, and I understand why you don't feel that way, but it is true. And um, I totally lost my train of thought with that, but it is true. Because here's the thing,
Mm-hmm.
like you you don't. This is an outsider's view,
Okay.
so
I'll
it's the
take it.
correct one.
I'll take it. It's the correct
Um,
one.
you don't you don't change Joes around other people, like if you're around some people. No, no,
Oh,
no, no, no. The base Joe is the same Joe. I know you
okay.
might not say certain things in front of some people, whatever. You know, that's just what people do. But the
Okay.
base Joe is always the base Joe is always the base Joe. You treat everybody the same when you talk to
Okay.
them, and
Sure.
you are yourself no matter who you're talking to.
Okay.
And so,
Okay. Okay. I can see
for
that.
some reason, that helps me be myself in like when I'm talking to you because I know that it's not going to influence you in any way, and I know that whatever your reaction is the true one. And you're gonna have a reaction. I know you're
Yeah.
gonna have a reaction.
Oh, I could
So
have a React channel and make millions probably. Um,
that's actually true. I think you
I
should
would
consider
never.
that
It's it's the
now
most
that we're saying it.
it's the
But
most
Joe, you have such great
uncreative,
facial
the most
expressions.
uncreative and demoralizing form of media that exists. And I'm one
That's
of
an
the people who
interesting,
fucking watches them. Not all of them. I watch
right.
some of them though,
That's
so I can't even say anything about it.
that's an interesting call. I don't know if
It's so it's so
excuse me.
just it's so I oh god, it's so depressing. It's such a depressing form of content. Um and I hate it because
I disagree.
I hate it because I consume it. So I hate that I'm part of the problem. I really dislike that
Mm.
form of content though. But I like I said, I'm a hypocrite in that sense where I literally watch people watch things constantly. Pretty much but I hate that I do it. So that's like I genuinely despise that I watch people who do it and I think it's entertaining. Like it pisses me
Well,
off.
maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you
No,
shouldn't
it's
despise that.
it's stupid because it's such a uncreative form of like why is it why is it
What you know? What is I think you could make the argument that
mm-hmm
a certain version of creativity. And we're not going to
mm-hmm
talk about what is creativity,
no we're not because we would fucking
because I'll
suck
have
our
to go
dicks
buy
at
a
that point.
gun so that I
Yeah.
can shoot myself.
Oh, you went a whole other direction.
But
I was saying we would just be sucking each other off.
yeah, but I would say that one version of creativity, expression of creativity,
hmm
is just having an opinion on things, a hard opinion on things.
Okay.
Think about like what the the origin of a lot of stand-up jokes is, right?
hmm
It's hearing something and
And reacting
having
to it.
a hard opinion on it.
Yeah.
So this is right. So this is kind of a different version of that. You're
And
getting
I
it
have an opinion
in the
on
moment.
everything.
I understand that there's right, that
I
there's maybe not
literally.
so much prep time to it, but also people are obviously getting things out of it. They're getting some type of entertainment out of it.
Yeah,
So
that's true. People want to know what other people have to think. It's fair enough. I want to know what other people have to think so I can say that they're wrong. So. I
wow.
literally. I d-
I feel like I said that. Like I feel like that's I feel like I said that through you.
well, I have been told by many people for better or for worse, I have an opinion on everything. And that I like.
But that's, that's part of what we do is
Yeah.
even just being able to uh, go back and forth about something, even when we don't necessarily fully believe what we're like. I don't
Mm-hmm.
fully believe that disagree with you that those types of videos maybe are terrible,
Yeah.
but it's more interesting if we flush it out like
It
that
is very
and look at
interesting.
it from both sides.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So yeah, from one existential crisis
This
to
is a
the
movie
other.
podcast,
This is a movie
right?
podcast where we will talk about
It's
movies.
you guys are getting a lot more than you paid for.
Honestly, we could probably have every. God, never mind. I literally almost just did the thing that we just talked about. How much we hate. We could have a fucking.
But
We
it's
could.
but but it's different with us. It's not, but
we're just, God, everyone is the biggest hypocrite on the planet. Fucking everyone.
yeah,
Everyone.
Joe.
It's just
Yeah,
everyone
man.
is.
Yes.
Ay, ay, ay. God. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Okay. So anyway, but no, I understand why there are literally just podcasts of just talking because, like, I think I told you this, like, people who make podcasts need two things, to hear the sound of their own voice and therapy. Um, so
Yeah.
that is literally, um, that is like one of the most true statements I've ever heard from somewhere that I can't even remember, or I made it up. If I made it up, I
Yeah,
should be
let's go with that. Let's
Socrates.
just take all
If
the
I made
credit
it
for
up,
it.
I should be Socrates. So we
I
got
remember
some.
one time I
Let's
said
go for it.
something so great.
Yeah.
It just came to me one day. I was just
Oh
talking with
boy.
a buddy of mine, thinking and I was just like, 407 years ago, our fathers.
You know what's funny?
I just came to me. It was
I thought we were. I thought you were actually gonna say something profound.
it's a waste of time.
thinking that or saying that.
Wait. Now I'm not sure what we're talking about.
Why? That is the most profound thing anyone can say. Okay, let's move on. So, movie news. Movie. Have you seen Inside yet? Have you seen it yet?
Inside.
Yeah, Bo Burnham special. That means you haven't seen it because.
Oh no, I
Oh,
haven't
dude,
seen it.
God damn it, you gotta see it. Okay, because oh god, that's like half the reason I'm even more introspective recently than I usually am.
I'm too busy rewatching every episode of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. Well, I should say the
Why?
same like six
Why?
episodes over and
Why?
over and over again. I can't get enough of two people just talking to each other. It's
That's why.
so relaxing.
That's
I
true.
watch it. I've started watching that show like every morning because I have my coffee. I have coffee with the people having
You
coffee,
hate
and it's
coffee
fun
too.
for me.
It's fun to hate
I
coffee
know,
while
but I'm going to
watching
drink
people
it.
enjoy coffee.
So, yeah.
That's fair enough. Um, that's interesting. I just, you know why that show doesn't like relax me? I can't, because I can't relate to Jerry Seinfeld. I can't. It's so hard for me to relate to Jerry Seinfeld, and the closest thing I've ever gotten to like a show on Netflix that has gotten me that kind of a feeling was a conversation with David Letterman. That's the closest where
Yeah.
like I've like gotten to where I'm like I can listen to these like I can like well, but that's not true. I've listened to like podcasts where like it's like, you know, that's what a lot of podcasts are, which is great. Um but like I like armchair expert. Like, okay, I'm gonna stop giving other people airtime, but um, I was just joking.
Yeah,
I was
like
just
nobody
joking.
knows
That
about
was a
this.
joke.
Oh, okay.
That was a joke. They have to pay for that. So, but
That's
no,
right.
but yeah, no, but seriously, it's like, for some reason, there's some forms of media like that, like comedians in cars getting coffee, where it's like, I don't know, something about it just, I can't, something about it. I can't describe it. Something about Jerry Seinfeld. I don't know what it is, but something about him specifically. Because I guarantee if that show was run by someone else, I would feel completely different. I guarantee it. And I don't know Jerry Seinfeld. I don't know him, but it's something about him. I just can't give. I can't. I don't know. I can't even put it into words. It's just this feeling. But yeah. Anyhow,
I understand. And see, that's the exact opposite with me. Because all I do is sit around and think about like why different people walk different ways.
Maybe it's because that show like doesn't feel like real to me, and I know that's the exact opposite of what it's supposed to feel.
Because they chop it up.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know.
Because you know they're together for like an hour or a couple hours probably, but we're only watching like 15 minutes.
You're right. If it was uncut, I bet I'd enjoy it more.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But it's cut for the reason where they would probably not do as well, but I think it would do well. But who cares?
It would definitely do well. I just think that that's something that Jerry Seinfeld has no interest in. Like he wants it. He wants that show tight.
Yeah,
it's gotta be tight.
I wish.
Why does everybody care?
Yeah, he rubs me the wrong way sometimes. I'm bad at separating myself and my feelings towards other people, like when I watch.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So like, cause I tried watching his new like special a while back, and I did not care for it. It was just like.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
I don't know. I tried. I really tried. I was just like, man, like he's just complaining about stuff that I could care like I really couldn't care less about any of this. Like,
see, those are the things that I care more about than anything.
Yeah,
those
you know
are
what's
things
funny?
that I care about more than my own life.
And you know what's funny is like people say the same thing about a comedian I like. Like they'll say the same thing that I just said, the same generic thing that is so that is so like demeaning to like someone's work, where I just described it in 2 words, and they'll say the same thing about a comedian that I like, and I'll blow up on them. So the fact that I just said that about a comedian that like you like, you know, really like, that's like the difference.
I think that what we've stumbled upon here is something that no one has ever stumbled upon before, and that is that everyone is different, and nobody should care what anybody else likes because they're gonna like different things. So it's so great that we are the first people to ever come to that conclusion through this 30-minute intro to a movie podcast.
Yeah, so that's the end of Film Juice this week, everybody, because you shouldn't care about what we think about these movies.
@film_juice at Film Juice Pod.
Seriously though, we do have movie news. God damn it! I'm just enjoying talking about this shit. Like I don't.
I know. Well, that's a whole. That's yeah. Sometimes.
Sometimes what?
Yeah, sometimes intros like this we just have to do them.
Yeah, I agree.
And here's what makes me laugh so hard is now when we talk about these 2 very small pieces of movie news, it's gonna be 15 minutes tops.
5 minutes tops. Yeah, 15 minutes tops. You're right. Well, we are going to talk about one thing because you have a bone to pick with me on it. So.
Oh yeah, but still, that's not going to take nearly as long as all of that.
He-Man.
Yeah.
He-Man, baby.
They put out a trailer for it's like a teaser, but it's one of those teasers that's 90 seconds long, which is dumb. I think they just think it's a teaser because it's basically all music, like there's only two lines said. It's like, ooh, that's a
Hmm.
teaser. You show us so much stuff. That's a full trailer. But
That's a full
anyways,
trailer.
there's new He-Man cartoon, Masters of the Universe cartoon that's gonna be on
Hmm.
Netflix. They just put out a teaser for it, and Kevin Smith is producing it. I've heard him talk about it for a while. Sounds very excited. You watched He-Man as a kid, you were
Yeah.
saying.
Yep. I had the
I never
toys.
watched it.
Whoa. I had a toy of
Yeah, I
He-Man
never
and
watched it, never had the toys.
I had a toy of He-Man and Skeletor, and He-Man's cat and Skeletor's cat. I didn't have the
I didn't
castle,
know
but
Skeletor had a cat. Hmm.
he definitely he had some sort of mount. Maybe it wasn't a cat, but he had a mount. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty positive because like the whole thing about that show is he is um Skeletor and He-Man are like basically like the polar opposites. So like in every way. So like
Yeah,
Skeletor has a skeleton evil cat and He-Man has a like cool cat, you know.
right. That's kind of the way it goes for those
Especially
80s
in the 80s. Yeah.
cartoons and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I watched it as a kid and it was good. I like it. I think it's I I thought it was enjoyable. I I don't remember a whole lot of it, but I remember I distinctly remember watching it like on TV or I think I had a VHS of it maybe. Um so yeah, and I had the toys for it. I had some like sets, like toy sets and action figures from it, which I probably still have somewhere cuz I don't throw shit out. Um but yeah, maybe I have like $1 million like in my closet from a He-Man toy or something. Probably not. No one cares about
A
He-Man.
pretty No, that's not true at all. A lot of people care about
Yeah,
He-Man very much, but
that
if
is
you
true.
have a loose He-Man figure
Yeah,
in
people like
okay
things
condition,
wrapped.
retail, that's gonna go for $10
Yeah,
maximum. So,
people like things like in pristine wrapped, like
yeah.
graded. Um,
Well, rated, sure, but like
yeah.
for that's a big thing for one of the things that I like personally about toys like that
Mm,
is the card, is the
mm,
is the packaging. It
yeah,
looks
that's
really
true.
cool.
That is true, especially those kinds. Yeah, like yeah, that's very true. That is part of it for sure. Um so anyhow, yeah, I watched so yeah, that's all I got to say about it. I don't really remember enough, but I remember liking it enough to, watch it and have the toys for it. But I'm surprised you never saw it. I thought you would have been someone to have watched it.
No, I was basically all Ninja Turtles, and then
Mm.
just like regular stuff that was on at that time.
I liked Ninja
Shaolin
Turtles.
Showdown.
Mm. That
Ninja
Jackie
Turtles is
Chan show I used
best.
to watch too.
The Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yeah.
That show's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
That
that was
show
a
does
cool
not get
show.
enough respect in the main population, but if you know, you
Yeah.
know.
If you know, you do
So
know.
this trailer, it
Yes.
looked pretty cool. The
Yeah.
animation style's definitely updated. There's certainly I would say a tiny, tiny bit, not overly so, but like a tiny bit of like anime influence in it. Very small amount. But it still looks good. And
Yeah.
they showed a lot of action. Looks like there's going to be a lot of action in the series. There's that little. Do you know what the name of the little wizard is? The like floating guy with the hat,
No. Oh.
Ozo or something.
uh, no, I do not actually. I bet you if I see the name, it'll come out at me. He-Man
But
Wizard.
he always seemed like kind of a lame
Orko.
character from Orko. Yeah, he seemed kind of like a lame character to me.
Mm.
not being very familiar with the series, but they show him like getting right in the mix with some of this stuff, which
Mm.
so it seems like it's going to be a lot more serious than the original cartoon,
Yeah.
which I bet is because just the world we're living in is like if you make something like a He-Man revival, you
Mm-hmm.
have to put something in there for the grown men that are also going to watch it.
Yeah, like, they want a it's a modernized take on it, right? Kind of. So it makes sense. Looking at stills from the old show, they did a really good job not changing too much for sure though. Like they did a good job, I think, of just giving it an updated feel. Um
Yeah.
Now, I will say the music for this trailer was fucking awful. This song is the most
See, I
overused song.
disagree.
It's the most overused
Name
fucking
me
song.
Name three. Name three. Name three instances.
Okay, I gotta find them.
Don't Google it.
I got to.
You can't Google
This is
it.
what I'm saying. Listen.
You just
Can I
said
tell
if
you?
it's
Yeah,
so,
it is
Joe. If it's
overused.
so,
Listen. Can I explain? Mister? Yeah. Okay. Let me explain.
and I talk. When am I gonna talk?
Never. You're never gonna. Okay. No. All I'm gonna say is I just want to finish the thought of this. This song is just in so many commercials. It is in so many advertisements. It is in so many like uh uh trailers. I feel like, and I just feel like anything that is remotely 80s, this has to be in there. And it is so. I am so over it. I am so over this song. It is insane how over it I am. The last time I have enjoyed this song was Shrek 3, and I'm already over it. 2? Was it Shrek 2 or was it Shrek 3? I'm already over it still though. It was Shrek 2. I don't even like it in that context. Whenever I see that fucking scene be brought up in like a TikTok or something, I'm like, God, I wanna fucking die. Like this is the most obnoxious song at this point. So anyways, yeah, it is just use a different song. There are so many good 80s songs. Use a fucking different song. And it doesn't even fit with the trailer. It doesn't fucking fit.
Disagree. I think it does work for the trailer. Although, you know what? You have it. Now you're kind of changing my tune on that. Maybe it doesn't fit. Because it fits for He-Man, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't necessarily fit for everything that they're showing.
Mm-mm.
All the action and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, maybe you won me over on that one, in a sense. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I get what you're saying about the overused thing, but I think that if it were really overused, you'd be able to rip off where it was overused.
I try
And
to get
I
it
think
out of my
that
mind.
the argument could be made, right? The argument could be made, I think that even if it's overused, it wouldn't matter if it worked well here, if it were applied appropriately.
Sure.
And so I still am into it. Like I think it works just
Mm-hmm.
because of He-Man. Like I get it. He-Man, I need a hero. I like that
Yeah.
song. But I can understand how with them showing a lot of action and stuff, it's maybe doesn't fit as well
It
as it could.
gives me the vibe that they're just trying to sell this purely on like it's the 80s. Look at this. We're
I see.
80s.
I
And
see.
it's like
Well,
let it
obviously,
stand on its
that's the pull. Is
sure,
the
but let it stand on its
and,
own, man.
well,
Like
well, that's the thing, Joe. It's going to ultimately. They can
mhm.
dress up all these trailers and stuff as much as they want, but when the
Mhm.
show comes out,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, people are gonna see it for what it is. It's gonna have to stand on its own eventually,
Mhm.
and it's obvious that the pull for the show is nostalgia because it's a reboot. It's
Mhm.
different. It's trying to get a lot of people that are like, oh, I watched the show when I was a kid. Now I can watch it with my kids.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
all that jazz, all that
True.
shit.
All that shit. True. True. I can see that. Yeah. I get that. I think it'll. I just I'm just obviously biased against it, but I'm sure it'll get some people hyped up. I thought it was good. I think the animation's cool though. I like the animation.
Yeah.
Like I said, I looking at the old art, like it looks literally like they just went over old stills and like modernized it and changed some designs, which I like because that's all I think needed to happen. I don't think they needed to go crazy with it. You know what? A show I watched a while back that's kind of very He-Man inspired in a way. Um, it's a pretty good show. It's not like He-Man, but it is inspired by He-Man. Very like there are a lot of inspirations. It's a Netflix show as well. It's called She-Ra. It's literally called She-Ra. So you know what? I can find the fucking name.
That's a direct spin-off of He-Man.
Oh,
She-Ra is like He-Man's sister or
She-Ra,
something.
no, She-Ra, Princess of Power. No, there's no way this has anything related.
Yeah.
This is just She-Ra, Princess.
I'm telling you, they came out with
1985. Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, man.
What? Long lost twin sister of He-Man. What the fuck?
Yeah, dude. I can't believe you didn't know that.
I have no idea. Well, I love
That's so funny.
The new show She-Ra I thought was really great. Well, god damn, that's crazy. They literally never mention He-Man in the show. So I literally
because it's long lost.
But I thought that it being Netflix, that in one of the seasons they would have hinted at He-Man or done some sort of you know how shows are nowadays where they're an after credit scene or something like they literally, I don't think they're making a season after. I think season 2 was just the fucking end. I don't think they're doing anything else, and they literally never referenced He-Man. So that's kind of crazy that they actually had the balls to just have it be its own thing, which I like because it was a great show. I thought it was a really great show.
They were pretty separate originally as well, is my understanding.
That's crazy. Wow. Well, that blew my mind. That's pretty cool. Anyway, well, it's a great show. Well, that was all I was gonna say. Is it's a great show. And it reminded me of He-Man in a lot of ways. And I thought they were just kind of taking inspiration, but no, that's literally just the same. That's so funny. Well, it makes me excited it makes me more excited knowing that that's part of it. So maybe it'll be I don't think it's by the same studio. The animation looks pretty different, but I think it'll be oh my god, if they did a combined show in the future, that'd be insane. They could do that. Oh man. Anyway, but then the animation wouldn't mix well. Anyways, yeah, so we don't get a whole lot from this trailer other than some fighting and some voice, some voices like Skeletor.
Yeah, very very small amount, right?
Yeah. Skeletor, we get some voices. Dude, there are some really cool action that they're showing off though, so I think that could be really cool. So yeah. I don't know. It's coming out in July 23rd, right?
I
think. So, yeah, we'll see what's going on with it. Are you excited though, overall?
Not really. I like Thundercats. I'm a Thundercats guy.
See, that's great. That's interesting.
If they did a remake of that, that'd be cool.
They did.
Actually, they did do a remake of that.
They did it on Cartoon Network a few years ago.
Quite some time ago.
It was pretty wild. It was, I say a few years ago, yeah. It was pretty long time ago. Yeah, no, I was never a Thundercats person. I just never watched it. So
Thundercats is the coolest. I never watched it as a kid. My girlfriend and her siblings watched it when they were kids, and then she was rewatching it in the way that I would like rewatch Codename Kids Next Door sometimes or whatever, right?
Codename Kids Next
And
Door.
so I
What a
would
show.
watch some of it with her. Yeah, that show's fucking amazing. That show is
Yeah.
so good. That show, I could talk about for a very long time, but I won't. We'll talk about this very quickly though.
Yes.
Is the everybody's been talking about this, but um there's this great animated Harley Quinn show that if anybody hasn't watched, it's on HBO Max now. It's phenomenal. It's so funny. Definitely check it out. They're writing this new season, and I guess there was a scene. It's a very like adult, it's like an adult animated show. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's a scene that's apparently written for the new season where Batman performs cunnilingus on Catwoman. He goes down on her.
Yes.
That's what was written.
Yes.
They sent the script to Warner Brothers to be approved and stuff, as you do, and it came back saying we have to cut this scene. There was a quote from a Warner Brothers executive that said, "You had Batman, the Batman cunnilingus scene had to be cut because quote heroes don't do that." And I think we are seeing some insight into why the DC cinematic universe has been trashed so much across the board. These guys, if there was any doubt in your mind that these guys had no idea what they were doing, that's gone now. Now we know for sure.
Yeah.
They have no idea what's going on.
No.
I don't know who's running things over there, but they are never going to be successful with an attitude like that,
Dude, that's
frankly
insane.
speaking.
It's
They're just
insane.
not. And so everybody's been taken off about it. It's very funny.
Yeah, I mean, we're that's like just the craziest opinion that I've people. There's other people that I've heard that we've seen in media who like have said stuff like that, and it's all the same opinion. It's like, are you fucking stupid?
Yeah.
Like what? Oh yeah, yeah. It's so silly. Such a silly. Like it's like one of the most
And
silly
I'm sure it'd be
takes.
a very funny scene in the show. And just thinking, just like that's just a funny idea, you know?
Yeah,
Phenomenal. Like that's
it's
the whole
just.
purpose of that show is to come up with like things like that,
Mm,
not necessarily sexual all the time, but like just weird things.
mm-hmm.
Seeing these characters do that
But
stuff,
also
it's funny.
like it's a real like it's also like just like it's just like the idea like I know this is what you were saying but it's like it's just bizarre like the idea
Oh,
that
right.
what
Yeah, a lot of people still to this day, I think. Y'all good, Joe?
yeah no you like
Oh, okay, sorry. Uh, a lot of people, as far as I know, still to this day, think that it's like emasculating or wrong to like go to lick a
yeah
pussy.
it's crazy
Like I was telling Joe, the whole one of the arcs in the very first season of The Sopranos in the very first few episodes is they're kicking out or rumor going around that Tony's uncle or whoever that guy is um went down on a woman and now they're like, "Oh, so we have to like kick him out, like he loses all credibility for doing that."
mm-hmm.
Um which
It's
is
bizarre
also really funny. Yeah, it is really bizarre.
it's just this whole like the whole idea of that kind of mentality is crazy like to even especially in the context of like superheroes as if like for some reason they like wouldn't I don't know that's just so crazy to me it's just so funny it's such a funny idea I mean we saw The Boys right like it's just like it's such a silly that's like the if you watch The Boys like and you don't think that Superman does that shit like you're fucking crazy.
Well, in the movie Superman 2, Superman and Lois have sex. Superman doesn't have his powers when they do, but
Mm,
it's happened.
mm-hmm. So it's just like It's just it's crazy. Like, if you don't think fucking Superman's having sex with Lois while he's flying in the air, you're fucking crazy. So I'm just saying.
Okay,
I'm
well,
just saying.
now I'll never
It's
not
just like,
I'm never gonna stop thinking about that now.
no, but I'm just saying, like, it's just like these people who like think for some reason that
It's a good point, though.
they don't
I
like
don't know,
have
there's so
sex,
much
or
weird
it's just
stuff.
crazy.
Yeah, well, there's all kinds of sometimes there's, like, these weird things that, companies come up with about these
Hmm.
fictional characters, like, do you know Donald Duck
Yeah.
has a service record? And supposedly it's very dark, so
What?
it's
I
a
did
weird
not
thing,
know
but if
about that.
anything, it's the exact opposite of what I mean, it's just a
So weird.
normal
Where's
thing that people
Waldo
do,
when
but I
you
guess
need him?
not heroes.
Fucking where's Wally, man?
Where's
I
Wally?
fucking need him, like, to
He's
save the
around.
day, man. Oh my god.
Where's
Where's
Wally?
Wally?
Where's Wally?
Where's Wally? It's just
Where's
like,
Wally?
you're never in the history of anything gonna find a better show, like
Yeah,
a better theme song, I should say. Like,
yeah,
it's just,
yeah.
holy shit. Anyhow, also Zack Snyder tweeted a
Okay.
picture of uh a picture of Batman going down on Catwoman and said canon. I thought that was very funny. So did a lot of other people. So, yeah. That's
Gosh.
and guess what? That is all the movie news.
Yeah. If
Literally,
you think of anything else, just talk about it to
yeah.
yourself.
This is the
Like, I'm
the
saying that for the people listening.
yeah, this is the lightest week of movie news that we've like had in a long time. So that's kind of why I think that's another reason why we were just
Oh
like
my gosh.
rambling. Anyhow, we both need food. Let's get into the first movie.
Yeah. I'll tell you
uh,
what.
yeah.
No offense to anybody, I don't want you to feel gypped, but I do feel like I'm not gonna have too much to say about either of these because of my track record with musicals. It just is what it is.
Fair enough. Well, we had a lot
But
to
we'll
talk
get
about with
into it.
Hamilton, but this is a little different.
That's
I
true.
do.
Exactly.
I think I should. I'll open this one if you want to open the next one. But this
Okay.
did you say, oh God?
I said okay.
Oh, okay. But this movie, we've talked about it a lot. I have been very excited for this movie for a while. I've been very hyped up because the trailers, I gotta say, incredible trailers. Um, and it's no secret I'm a big fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda's work. I love Hamilton. Um, and I really I like the music from In the Heights. I've heard it before, so I was, but I never saw the musical before. I heard the music, so I was excited to like kind of jump into this version and see a movie musical that looked so it's kind of like it's a movie musical, like, but Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it's not like Hamilton where it's like just shot on the stage. It's like it's literally like
Yeah.
filmed. So like that it's like, it's there's creative justices made with it and stuff. So I was excited about that. Anyhow, this movie follows Usnavi. It takes place in, well, actually, it follows a few different characters. It takes place in Washington Heights, and follows a few different characters, but mainly is around Usnavi. And it's around this community, this Latino Puerto Rican, um, very Hispanic community, and it's kind of just about this block of Washington Heights, and change is happening on this block. There's change happening on this block. Usnavi is, he's trying to, move to Puerto Rico, to continue his
In the
father's
Dominican Republic.
the Dominican Republic. Yes, that I did get that mixed up there. Um, he's trying to I'm getting like I was getting too specific there. He had his dad used to have a business there. He wants to move there and keep going with that business. And then there's other characters. We have a girl who is coming back from college, and there's some conflict there, inner conflict there with, and community conflict there, and it's kind of all about these characters just trying to like follow their dreams. That's literally like the best way I can put it, and without getting too specific, because like this movie follows a lot of different branches. So yeah, and it's what it is. It's kind of following this storyline of this block following their dreams and trying to make things work, but during these like hard times, but also kind of telling this story of like gentrification of the like area, which I will say is a lot more after watching it, getting into the movie, is a lot more it takes a lot more of a backseat than I expected it to.
Me too.
When
Big
watching
time.
the movie. And I like I said, I've heard the music before, but I've never seen the movie. So with Hamilton, it's different because when you listen to the music, you can listen to the whole album and know the whole story because it's like, it's all sung. So like there's very few spoken parts. And this is kind of similar, but there are plenty of like, it's not like the whole.
Regular scenes.
Yeah.
Traditional scenes.
So I didn't really know like the story going on, but yeah.
Right. I was just thinking that same thing about how I really thought the idea of the neighborhood disappearing, because they say that a couple times throughout the movie, and it was in the trailers. The reason why I think it doesn't feel as present as they maybe want it to feel or make it out to feel, because there's so many like background dancers and people. Like if like in the story that we're watching, there's like what, like 4 people leaving the block or something.
Yeah, 4.
But then we see everybody else in this neighborhood. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, it almost is like egotistical of the characters to be like, this block is going to be ruined when we leave.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be such shit here. They're like, look at all these people, and they're having a pretty good time without you guys. It seems like so. I think it's going to be all right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's my theory as to why it doesn't hit as hard as maybe they'd want it to. But the one place it definitely does hit hard is with that Mr. Softy truck and Lin-Manuel Miranda doing the shaved ice.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
I think, this is what I think. I think my expectations going into it were just more... I think my expectations going into this were just... from the trailers were just different than what it actually is. Which, can be a negative thing and a positive thing. This is... So... I think that, like, I'm not saying, like, the whole theme of gentrification isn't there. It is there. It definitely is there, and it's just not... It's not the main, like, meat of the story, because this plot is very different than a lot of, like, this is a musical before it's a movie. And that is the biggest thing that I think is going for it and going against it. Not only... Because I think this... Because I gotta say, and I don't know if you can tell by the way I'm talking about it, this movie definitely disappointed me in some aspects, for sure. And I think it's because they did such a great... I think it's because this movie is a musical before it's a movie, which is fine, but it doesn't adapt it enough to make it a movie. Because this is the thing. With Hamilton, you know, that movie is what that show is 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours. It's a long thing to watch on Disney Plus. But the way it's filmed, and since it's literally just taken from the stage, it's kind of acceptable because that is how musicals are. Musicals are long. They have an intermission. They are acted. They are structured differently than a movie, usually. But with this, they just took the entire musical and filmed it and adapted it for the screen, but without adapting it for the screen. They didn't cut anything out, which I'm okay.
Right.
Like, you know, they can not cut things out, I guess, but it's just it's so weird to see this structure be in a movie when there's no intermission. There's no and it also, I do want to say really quick, before I throw it to you to see how you felt about it. They also don't when you're in the theater for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and for a movie like this, or for a show like this, it's very different. I don't know how to explain it, but when you're there in the theater, it is a completely different feeling than when you're watching it on the screen. And it's even more disconnected when you're watching this movie version of it. So when you take this story and you don't really do a lot to adapt it to the screen, other than visually in some instances, I feel like you have some issues with pacing, and you have some issues with engagement with the audience, if that makes sense. With this, especially with this kind of a plot, where it's kind of following all these different stories. So yeah, I don't know, what did you think of?
As far as the adaptation goes, I think you're probably pretty spot on. But the thing that I really enjoyed about this movie is that I think if you are going to adapt a musical into a movie, I think this is how you shoot it, because most of the numbers, the musical numbers, if you will, were those scenes were like very surrealist and stuff a lot of times. And I like that because I like that it's so different from what the limitation of a stage show. So I think if you're going to do it, you might as well do it like this and just go all out. So I was glad that they did all that surrealist stuff in there.
Yep, I agree.
That being said, this wasn't really for me to speak of it generally. I liked the second half of the movie a lot better than I did the first.
Yeah.
And I liked most of the acting very much so. I'm pretty sure I said this when we did Hamilton, but that Anthony Ramos guy can really fucking act.
I really
that
liked
dude
him.
Is unbelievable.
This is the interesting.
I want to watch him in like a not musical.
I gotta say, I mean, the cast didn't surprise me at all, like how good they were, because especially Anthony Ramos, because Anthony Ramos literally played this character on Broadway. I mean, he was literally the person who played it after Lin-Manuel Miranda, who is also in this movie, because he has to be in everything he does, which is so fucking funny.
Why not?
Yeah, no, he was good, and he was good. I actually thought he was just gonna be a cameo. I didn't think he was actually gonna have like a somewhat of a role in the movie. So
that's the Lin-Manuel special, Joe.
Yeah. It's so funny. But hey, he didn't direct it.
Okay, that reminds me.
What?
Why was I thinking this?
Oh, and they have some Hamilton.
New York City, are you gonna start going by 3 names? Because I feel like you have to go by 3 names there.
Why?
You have... Oh, you know why? It was because the musical was also... It's because the musical... It was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, of course.
Yeah.
It was co-written by I don't know how to pronounce her name, so excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Kiara Algeria Hudez. Hudez.
Okay.
Hud. Hudis. Anyways, so three names. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking my pal Joe is headed to the city very soon.
Uh-huh. Very
He
soon.
might have to get three names. What is your middle name?
Samuel.
You don't have to say it if you don't want to.
I just
Oh,
said it.
Samuel?
Samuel. Yeah.
That's phenomenal. I
Joseph
really like
Samuel
that.
Dorado. Um,
JSD.
JSD. That's why it's yeah. That's exactly why that's the email. JSD.
Right.
What
Didn't put that together.
what's your middle
I
name?
just see letters, Joe. I
I
don't.
feel like you've
My
told me
middle
it.
name is William. William.
Andrew William Canada. Huh.
Yeah, that's me. And my
Goat name.
social security number is
Love it. I do want to check out really quick who the DOP for this was, because goddamn, I gotta give them props.
Alice Brooks.
Alice
Yeah.
Brooks, dude. I think they like kind of knocked it out of the park. They were I think they did the best job for anything in this movie. Well, actually, that's not true. Costumes and sets also incredible. Like, wow. Like, holy shit. The lighting and, well, that's, I guess, under DOP somewhat, but the lighting and the sets and the costumes and the choreography during these numbers are just phenomenal. Like, there's a few numbers in particular that are just, like, incredible. And
there's some, I gotta tell you, some of the dancing was really not for me in this movie.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
I really
crazy.
I liked that they. Oh, there's like the pool scene.
That's the best. I mean, that's the best number in the
Which
whole
no
movie.
spoilers or anything, but
It happens kind of
well, it
early on
wasn't.
too.
Yeah, I didn't get too much out of that. I didn't
Really?
like. I liked the idea of what they were doing as far as the choreography went, but like watching it in practice, I was like, I like that you did this, but I don't. But it's not like it's
Wow.
not really doing it for me.
Okay, that's crazy. I thought. See, wow, that's interesting. I really
Look,
loved it.
we all know my track record with musicals, Joe. You have to take everything I say with even a smaller grain of salt than
Hey,
usual.
but no, it's just interesting. But it's interesting to hear that. I do want to say though, I really like 96,000, which is that number. That's the best number in the entire movie, easily. Just song wise, it's like, it's interesting because, and this might just be me. This is me less, criticizing the movie, but more criticizing the musical, because obviously this is literally just a direct take from the musical. But I will say these kind of stories are a little harder to swallow for me, because they are just like, I mean, the plot is kind of everywhere. Like, it's kind of not a focus. It's not a super focused
Right.
plot. It's more just mini stories that you're following that kind of end up in the same place at the end. And when you get to the 96,000 number, it kind of makes you think that this movie is gonna be about like finding this ticket and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And like, he literally right at the end of the song goes, "Yeah, never was fun." And I think that was kind of the point of it, but it's kind of like, it's hard to swallow. It's hard to take in, I guess, because
Right.
I'm not saying that
I
any
get
of
that because everybody goes so hard in that number that
yeah
it's like, oh, I guess this is what the movie's about now. Like this
yeah
is gonna be a big chunk of this
yeah,
act.
but it all comes
Good.
together at
I
the
mean,
end.
fine song.
Yeah, but it all comes together at the
Yeah,
end too.
it all
So
comes
like,
together at the end.
by the end, by the end, everything does make sense, and like like the loose stories that you follow do all to come together, and that is like, so there is that kind of a payoff there. But I also think, like, pacing for a movie, like, it like, watching this as a movie is just a lot harder to take in, and and absorb than when you're watching it at, like, I feel like if I saw this on stage, my criticisms wouldn't be the same as, like, I feel like I wouldn't even be criticizing the pacing, because it doesn't really, like, I don't know, it just doesn't, it feels different. It does feel different.
I think that it's when you're swapping through storylines and stuff
Mm-hmm.
on in a stage show, you
Mm-hmm.
literally see characters walk on and off.
Mm-hmm.
So the transition that makes it a lot easier to get where
Mm-hmm.
we're jumping from.
Yeah.
This didn't really do that. It just
No.
kind of like suddenly you're following this person and
Yeah.
that person a lot of the time.
Yeah. So it was good. It definitely didn't. It wasn't as it wasn't as it wasn't as great as I wanted it to be. I
Right.
really wanted this to be like, you know, the I thought it was. And I will say, when you get to the great musical numbers, I think the musical numbers really do carry this film. It's when you're not in the musical numbers, some of that does, like, take a little longer to get to where you're going. Um there's also some weird writing decisions, I think, that are kind of stand out. They kind of stand out in this. But it's a 2.5 hour long movie. It is. And this is like my main thing that I'll say to people who are thinking about watching this movie. If you like, first of all, if you like the musical, watch this movie, because you're just gonna. It's just, there's no reason why you wouldn't like it. Like, it's just the musical on the screen, and there's really cool visuals. Like, there's no reason you wouldn't like it. It's the same fucking thing. But if you are not a huge musical fan, I don't think this is the movie for you. I think this is honestly made, like, when the trailers definitely make it seem like it's gonna be like a musical for everyone, but I think that this is, and I'm not saying this isn't a musical for everyone, I'm just saying this is a musical movie that only, I think, hardcore musical fans are gonna enjoy, like, a lot. I think some, like, people will get some enjoyment out of it who, if they aren't super into
Right.
musicals, but it's hard to sit there for 2.5 hours and not really know where you're going until the last 30 minutes of the movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because that's how the plot is. You don't really know where you're going until the last 30 minutes of the movie. So it's a lot to ask of you. And when you're watching it in the theater, you kind of, you pay for that. Like, you know going into it that that's basically how it's gonna go, because that's how musicals are most of the time. So yeah, it's yeah, that's what I'd have to say about that, with me recommending it.
I think you summed that up perfectly.
Yeah, the musical's great. Like the music is great. The shots are great, and I just want to shout out one moment in particular that I thought stole the entire show, and it actually wasn't even the 96,000 number, which was great, but it was the number with Abuela. Her
Oh
number
yeah.
was the best number. Like, it stole the show. That is my favorite number in the entire, like, that's the standout number for me. Like, other than 96,000, like, that one blew me away. Like, she just comes out of nowhere and just destroys she destroys that number. Like, what that number represents too, like, that's kind of where the story started to click more with me, of what this whole movie
Completely.
is, like, representing and what it's trying to tell. Because, it's a movie, it's about a lot of different things, right? So but that really started to, like, bring it all together. And that's the moment where everything, that's kind of the climax, I guess, right? Like, that's literally the climax of the movie in a way. So yeah, that whole scene was great. The sets in that part were amazing. Like, the choreography was, like, it was just the best shot, the best, like, everything. And yeah, the moving shots in this movie are great too. I love how they kept the camera moving in a lot of instances. And some of these shots must have been the most fucking frustrating thing to, like, make work. Like, that pool scene, I don't even want to know how long that fucking took. Like, holy shit. Like, it's very impressive. It was very impressive to see the shots, how this movie was shot. So yeah, anyhow, I think that's all I gotta say about it. I think I thought it was really, it's tough. I'm very conflicted with it. I thought it was great,
Yeah.
but I also think that, like, it definitely did, like, disappoint in a few, like, ways. Like, I think it's just a better musical than it is a movie. So yeah,
What was a little weird for me
yeah.
was so many of the songs in the
Mm-hmm.
first half. You could include a Abuela's song in this because
Oh,
it
okay.
really did kind of come out of nowhere when she just like flew. So many of the songs there are just introducing these characters, like or having the character talk about just telling us who this character is and what they
Mm-hmm.
want. And that's fine, and it's a good thing because there are so many individual characters. That's
Yeah.
a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no main conflict to glue it all together
Yeah.
and keep everything on track.
Yeah.
There's no storyline or plot point that is strong enough
Mm-hmm.
to make all those things cohesive. So
Yeah.
it feels even more so like you're being bounced around.
Yep. I agree with that. There's not. Yeah. That is a huge thing, and that just comes down to the writing of just the musical. But yeah, no, I agree with that. I like I said, I think the themes are there. It's just like, obviously the central themes are there, and they like do come together, and but in some instances I do think, like, the conflict could be stronger. There could be a stronger centralized conflict, and I agree with that. I kind of think the main conflict in a way is abstract, and I think that's why it's kind of,
Right.
and I
Hard to
think,
grab
yeah,
onto.
but I think there is a main conflict. It's kind of an abstract conflict.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
so it's kind of, it's a weird movie to put to the screen. It really is. So, I do, the last thing I'll say about it before I rate it. I saw it in the theater. I literally waited. Like, I could have seen this a lot earlier, but I specifically waited to see it in the theater. And I think this movie's worth the watch for sure. If you like musicals, watch it in the theater. I think it's a great watch in the theater. I really liked, like, I just think watching musicals in the theater is the way to go either way. So I really liked it, but I gotta say, if you're kind of on the fence about this one, like, you think you might like it, but you're not sure, watch it on HBO Max, and, maybe give yourself an intermission. It's 2.5 hours long. It's almost as long as, well, no, it's not almost as long as that, but I almost said Justice League, and then I forgot Justice League is 4 hours long, so never mind. It's not almost as long as that, but it's a long movie. So, like, and the pacing, it feels like a long movie. It's a long movie. You might enjoy your time with it like I did, but, it depends.
I'll say, for anybody that doesn't like musicals, let me put it this way. If you've got someone that is always, like, dragging you to watch musicals, or if you have someone that is going to force you to watch this with them, this is not the worst one that you've been forced to watch. So, it's all right.
It's very well made, too.
Well, let's rate this thing.
Yeah.
Very well made. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
So, okay. I'm gonna give it, I think it, God, I'm so torn on this one, man. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 juice boxes out of 10.
Wow.
I could give it an 8, but I think 7.5 is, like, fair. I think 7.5 is, like, a good score. Like, it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
But it is not like, it's not like an amazing, like, musical movie. But but I do think it is good, and I do think it's worth the watch. 7.5. I think 7.5 is a good score.
Wow, that's definitely lower than I thought you were gonna go still. But I'm gonna give it 6.5 juice boxes.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah.
because like I said, if you're gonna adapt a musical into a movie, fucking do all this shit. Like do everything that is completely impossible to do on stage. Loved the acting. The song, none of the songs really stuck with me. So it's really kind of it's it's okay. I'm glad that we watched it for sure. I'm glad we're talking about it on the show. But 6.5, that's where it lands for me.
Fair enough. I thought the highest you would go is a 7. I was like that's the highest I expect for this. But yeah, no. Give it a watch. It's on HBO Max for the month. Or watch it in the theater. Cause both are good ways to view this. But yeah, dope shit. We got one more today. Doing a little bit of a musical theme. Ooh la la. To steal it out of the mouth of Andrew Canada. Ooh la la.
I do say that a lot.
This is one that I could have swore we fucking talked about, but apparently we didn't, and if we did, it doesn't matter because it's lost to the ages. So we're talking about it anyway. Singing in the Rain.
Singing in the Rain, 1952. The quintessential MGM musical. Stars Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor, Debbie Reynolds, and Gene Hagen, I think is how you say her name, and revolves around Don Lockwood, the biggest star in the movie.
Yeah.
And he
Don Lockwood
is his life, his romantic life was kind of run by the studio in a sense, and then he meets Debbie Reynolds' character, and he's like, maybe I don't have to do some of this stuff that famous people are supposed to do.
Maybe I don't have to do all this.
And then it becomes kind of helping Debbie Reynolds out with her career, and then making sure she gets the credit. And it all takes place in the 1920s, the transition from silent movies to talking pictures, the talkies. And so there's that transition from the point of these actors, can they still be successful when people can hear what they have to say, really?
Yeah.
And they're singing in the rain. It's very good. It's a very good movie. It's really like, it's one of those.
It's a classic.
Very like Hollywood centric movies. People like movies about the movies.
Oh, I mean.
And I'm definitely no exception to that. I love this movie.
I mean, yeah. If Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is any constellation, like.
I mean, Mank. Frickin' La La Land even is kind of.
La La Land, yep.
La La Land, not that much actually, but.
Citizen
although
Kane.
She is an actress. Citizen Kane.
Kind of.
Although that's not true, is it?
Well, no, it isn't. But it.
No, because it's about the newspapers.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's definitely not true.
Yeah, that's
it feels like it was true, but
it's just because of Mank. Yeah. I was just thinking about it. Yeah. So, this movie, I do like this movie. It's a great movie. And it is a classic. It does some things that musicals back then did that I'm not a huge fan of. Particularly, the way the movie opens, I don't like when movies open like that. I get it. Like, it's of the times, but it's not,
Well, it all started.
Yeah. And they literally just start the song, like, Singing in the Rain. Like, that's literally what, and this is thing I want to bring up to you. That, like, this is like one of the only gripes I have about this movie, but it is a gripe, and it is something that, like, kind of frustrates me with the movie, because I don't really like it. It's not a huge deal, though. It's, first it starts off with them singing in the rain, right? But also, the song...
We first find our hero singing in the rain.
The song Singing in the Rain, that's like that's the number everyone talks about, but it's like, it's not even a huge, it's a good number, but it's not even very central to the plot of the movie. So this is the thing that I want to bring up. The movie is called Singin' in the Rain, and it opens with that song, like, just as a little teaser. And I think it's literally just because they thought it was the most marketable song. So that's how they marketed the movie. And it bothers me because it just doesn't fit, like, what the movie is. And it's just like...
I hear ya. But you're absolutely right. That's just not what this time period was about. See, that's the thing about these MGM musicals is, and one of the things that I actually do find enjoyable about them. I get that you can't necessarily get away with this now, but the songs have nothing to do with what's happening.
Some of them do.
They don't have anything to do with the characters. Not really. They don't really.
The one song about...
They certainly don't push the plot forward, I don't think. Which song?
The Donald O'Connor song when he's talking about
Make 'em laugh?
Yeah.
That doesn't really have anything to do with anything, though.
What do you mean? It's literally pushing that whole scene. Like, it's what his character is kind of about. Like, at least that song, like, is telling us more about that character. Singing in the Rain barely, like, says anything about anything.
Okay. I would say that's probably the only example of that, then. Is that, in this movie, is that...
That might be. It might be the only example. That's, like, the one I can pull out of my hat.
But speaking of Donald O'Connor, he is excellent in this movie.
Oh, yeah, he kills it.
I think really everybody basically is. Jean Hagen, who plays Lena Lamont, she's the best. She's got to do that voice. Like, she just seemed to be so perfect for that role, have such a great understanding of that character. And this is just a fun old movie, you know what I mean? That's what you're gonna get out of it.
It is a
I don't like, I do like, I like the songs. I even like that, that Broadway song, whatever it's called, when he's like, gotta dance.
Oh,
love that.
Yeah.
And that really flies out of nowhere.
Yeah, that whole number. Yeah, but even that...
But this musical actually also has... It does have to do with Hollywood and making it in Hollywood, I guess. But it's different. It's not like... My name is Usnavi and I want to open up a store in the Dominican
that's
Republic.
Just Lin-Manuel Miranda's style of making music, though. That's literally what Hamilton is, too. It's literally his brand, is just having the characters sing what they're doing. And some people hate it and some people love it, and that's just what it comes down to. Like...
But like West Side Story, right? Every single one of those songs has a very purpose. And I don't think that's just not the case with this movie.
Yeah. I'm not saying... In
fact, all of these songs are just songs that MGM already owned.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, maybe this one will work. We got to put this movie together. Maybe this one will work in here. And that.
It is pretty bizarre, and I don't love that. I'll be the first to say it. I don't love it. But I understand why you like that, like... it's an old style. I get it. It's classic. And it's still a good movie. It's just... This is one of those classics that, like, isn't a 10 out of 10 for me. Like, it's a classic, but not to spoil you guys, but it's not a 10 out of 10 for me. It's just... I can still call it a classic, and I can still recognize it as one. But it's not a 10 out of 10 for me. It's just what it comes down to. Just because I just don't... It's just not my cup of tea. Um, I do love the music numbers, and I do love the story. I just don't think they mesh very well together. So it
They
doesn't
don't. They don't.
exactly, and I don't like that. And that's so I like them
Yeah.
separately, but I don't like them together, which is why.
Right.
But some of them I do like together. Like I really like, "Be Funny" or "Make 'Em Laugh." I love that song,
Make 'em laugh, yeah.
and I
Be
like
funny. Be
"Be
funny.
Funny." I like "Make 'Em Laugh," and I love that last big number. Not the last. Well, maybe it's not the last big number, but it's the number where he's literally like it's Gene Kelly just like going through this sound stage, and it's just him.
Yeah.
That is probably the best number in the entire like movie. I love that number too, and I think those two numbers really do. I do think those numbers do a good job of relating like what's going on. But that's not like the focus, and that's just what the difference is between musicals now and musicals then, movie musicals now and movie musicals then. But taking it as it is, it's a good movie. It's the set pieces are good, the dancing, the choreography is good,
Excellent.
the singing is good,
Yeah.
the story is engaging, the story is and also like you said, what's her name? Jean Hagen like carries the movie for me. Like, I know that's like
Yeah.
weird because she's like not a like she's kind of a
The villain,
the
kind of.
villain,
Yeah.
but she just carries it. Like she's really great. But yeah, Gene Kelly, Debbie Reynolds, Donald O'Connor. Donald O'Connor is my second favorite character. Honestly, Gene Kelly and Debbie Reynolds are kind of like they're good, but they kind of like I don't think they shine as well as Donald
Yeah.
O'Connor and Gene Hagen. I think they like honestly they kind of steal the show.
Absolutely. Which
I will say though, Gene
can
Kelly's
can
dancing.
sometimes be the benefit of less screen time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, we've talked about that too before. I will say Gene Kelly's dancing is pretty fucking great. Like I mean that's like just known at this point, but like watching him like move in this movie is kind of wild.
Yeah.
It's just really good. So yeah, I mean I don't know what else to say. Yeah,
No,
I
it
mean
speaks
it's
for
it's
itself
good.
in a lot of ways.
I think yeah,
I absolutely recommend this movie. This is probably my favorite movie musical.
that's crazy.
I like
It's not crazy actually,
I
but
mean, yeah.
it's not crazy.
I like it, I like and a lot of it is because I love that old-fashioned feel to it.
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
movie for me is so it's just all it's
Mm-hmm.
trying to do is be entertaining and
Yeah.
it succeeds
Mm-hmm.
quite well in my opinion.
That's true.
I
Um,
like that it's not 2 hours long. I think, for me, musical wise, an hour 40 minutes is perfect.
it's an interesting
So,
plot
it's
too.
got everything
Um,
going for it.
the plot's
Yeah.
very interesting as well. Um, what's interesting is this is the thing with this movie. If you're a fan of like going to the theater and like hardcore musical fan, I think you might feel the same way I feel about this movie, where like it's good, but like it kind of
It's not wicked.
Yep. You know what I mean. It just it's
Yeah,
a different time. It's a different time. Um,
different time.
it's a different time and a different. It's almost like a different genre. Like honestly, it's kind of like it's just
Yeah,
not. I would not compare this movie to
good way to
La La
put it.
Land. Like I would compare influences. Like obviously La La Land was influenced by this kind of a movie, choreography wise and costume wise, but in any other aspect, not really. Like there's really nothing else that like this movie takes from like a movie like that. It's mainly just choreography and costumes. Um,
It's kind of, it's just how the genre has
yeah.
progressed. It's kind of like
Oh, I
how,
think that's a good way to say it.
like, the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Mm.
You would watch that show, and the episode would be about. It'd be called like the fishing trip, right? And it would be about it. The description would be like, uh, Rob goes fishing and makes a big splash. Like something happens
Yeah.
on the trip, but you never see them fishing. It's just like him walking into the house soaking wet.
Yeah.
Now, that's
Uh-huh.
not what would happen. You would
No.
obviously show the fishing trip.
That's
And
so
like,
funny. That's such a
yeah.
good point. That's a really good point. Yeah, that's very true. That is so true. That's just like, that's so funny. I never even thought. Yeah, that now that you think about that, now that you talk, yeah, it's literally, that's crazy. Yeah, that's really true. I didn't even think about it like that. It's very funny. But yeah, you ready to rate this sucker? This sucker?
Yes, absolutely. And for me, this movie, for me personally,
For me,
personally, 10 out
gotta
of
give
10.
it, gotta give it 10 out of 10.
For me personally, wow.
Personally,
Wow.
Baba Booey.
For me, 10 out of 10. Baba Bluey.
Baba Booey. Uh, fair enough. I'm gonna give it. I think some people would definitely feel that way about it. When I think of my favorite musicals from this time, this might not even count because it is later still. But Wizard of Oz, we've talked about it already. But Wizard of Oz is my go-to. West Side Story as well, but that's also later than this as well. This is still the earliest that I can think of that I like.
Well, Wizard of Oz is 39 or 38.
Okay, so never mind. Then Wizard of Oz is my favorite from this era. I thought Wizard of Oz was way later than this one for some reason. This movie just has an old feel to it, though, right? So, like, and I think that's the point.
Yeah,
it's
like it's set in the 20s and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's supposed to, like, the setting of this movie is great, and like I said, I love the fucking. I really do think it's a great idea for a plot. Like, the plot is so good. Like, I really like just the story is such a good idea for a story. Anyhow, so I'm gonna give this movie. Yawn. I'm gonna give this movie 8 out of 10 juice boxes.
I can understand that.
Which I think is fair.
From your end.
Yeah,
sure.
I think it's a fair score. It's a good movie. Like that's the thing. Both the movies that I talked about today, I definitely talked about the negatives more than the positives, but they're both good movies. Like, I want to make that clear. Like, I think we both gave them positive scores. Obviously, like, you gave In the Heights 6.5, but that's still a positive score. Like, it's just, it's just like the positives. Like, you just kind of have to watch the movie, right? So,
yeah.
That is Film Juice this week, everybody. What an introspective and wild ride it's been today.
Yeah.
Half the show we had a therapy session, and half the show we talked about movies. So
yeah,
honestly,
I hope you feel all right about it, because
honestly,
I don't,
it's pretty great. What? No, no, I'm fine with it. What do you mean, dude? This is our fucking show.
Ready to apologize for acting the way that I did.
This is our fucking show, dude. Fuck it. If people don't like listening to can I tell you this? If people listen to this show to hear our opinions on these movies, I think they're, I'm surprised. I'm kind of surprised. They're listening to it for us. So, like, fuck it.
They're not listening to it for the steak. They're listening to it for the sizzle.
Also, we're making this for us and no one else. So, who fucking cares? Like, fuck it. Fuck them. That's a term that I will take from you till the day I die. Fuck them. So there we go. Thanks for listening, and yeah, more to come as always. We should have watch party maybe soon. I don't know. It really depends on how
we're living in wild times.
We really are. I'm moving. It's crazy stuff. So soon I'm gonna have a much different backdrop, which is gonna be interesting.
The skyline of New York City.
The streets were made of music. The streets.
My God.
You know what's
They were
great?
not-
Can I say one more thing before I give them our socials and everything? I gotta say, because this is one great thing about this movie, and this is more about the musical than the movie. But you know, this movie is kind of trying to like shed light on an area that I feel like doesn't get represented really ever. That's kind of the point. It's this movie and this musical is all about representation. Like that's what In the Heights was made for when it was on Broadway. It was supposed to represent a community that felt underrepresented, which is what this movie is kind of going for as well. So I do just want to say, you know how like this is a weird comparison, but you know how Disney World is like when you go to Disney World, it's like it's a magical feeling, right? I feel like what's cool about In the Heights, the musical, and the movie is it's kind of trying to give this area that kind of magical feeling. Like that is what that's like a whole like idea about it that I honestly it kind of just hit me now because I was thinking about you going to Disney and I was kind of thinking about that line like the streets were made of music and I was like, what does that mean? Like why? Like I know we make fun of it and we're making jokes about, but what does that mean? And it kind of just hit me like that's kind of like that is kind of like what they're going for. It's like this and that's what the like they're trying to bring this magic to the streets of Washington Heights, which so anyways, I don't know. That's just a point that I kind of wanted to make that I didn't really make. That just kind of hit me. Anyways, yeah. So there we go. I don't know. That was just a weird tangent. Anyways,
I think it's glad you said it.
Where was I? Oh yeah, you can follow us on Instagram at film_juice. You can follow us on Twitter at filmjuicepod. More episodes coming out soon. And yeah, we're actually we have a backlog at the moment. So by time you hear this one, you might have gotten like 3 episodes closer together than normal. So you're gonna be getting some content. It's what it's about, baby. It's all about the content.
That's right.
I think that's all we got for you this week. And God, oh God, it's crazy that. Yeah, it's just crazy how things are like. So many things are happening. So yeah, we might not even be able to get to do a watch party till next month, but you know, it'll happen. It'll happen. So anyhow, as always, thanks for listening. My name's Joe Dorado.
And I'm Andrew Canada, and we'll see you next time at the movies.
Yeah.